Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. I want to share something with you that I believe will help transform your life, but it's not the typical advice you hear. Today, I want to talk about one of the biggest obstacles to your growth, and that is this: stop telling everyone what's going on in your life. Many of us are constantly confronted with challenges, obstacles, and difficulties in our lives. Whether it's personal, professional, or emotional, the presence of problems seems inevitable. We are wired to focus on issues that are right in front of us, and it's easy to get caught in the cycle of discussing these issues with others. Talking about our struggles, frustrations, and roadblocks becomes a natural way of processing our thoughts, seeking validation, or simply venting our feelings. But what if I told you that focusing on problems, constantly discussing what's not working, is actually one of the biggest obstacles to achieving the success and happiness you desire? The truth is, when you spend too much time focusing on problems, you're giving them more power over your life. Your energy becomes consumed by the things that are wrong instead of the things that are right. And when you're stuck in this cycle of problem-oriented thinking, you fail to see the opportunities, solutions, and possibilities that are waiting for you just beyond the obstacles. It's not that problems are to be ignored or avoided. Life will always present challenges, but there's a significant difference between acknowledging a problem and obsessing over it. Acknowledging a problem means you recognize it, understand it, and are willing to do something about it. Obsessing over it means you keep rehashing it, talking about it repeatedly, and letting it control your thoughts and emotions. This constant focus on what's wrong keeps you locked in a cycle of inaction and frustration. It drains your energy, wastes your time, and keeps you stuck in the past. Instead of spending all your mental energy on the issue itself, why not turn that energy toward finding a solution? When you focus on solutions, you're shifting your mindset from helplessness to empowerment. You're no longer a victim of your circumstances, but a creator of your outcomes. Rather than feeding your mind with negative thoughts about what isn't working, you're programming yourself to think about what can be done to make things better. This shift in focus is the first step toward breaking free from the cycle of complaining and stagnation. Now, let's consider how often we talk about our problems with others. We vent to friends, family, and colleagues about the struggles we face. In many ways, this is a form of seeking validation, hoping others will empathize, agree, or even offer advice. While there's nothing inherently wrong with sharing your challenges with others, the problem arises when that becomes the primary focus of your conversations. When you're constantly talking about what's not going well in your life, you risk reinforcing those problems instead of moving past them. Every time you talk about your difficulties, you bring them into your present reality and give them more weight. Instead of releasing the burden of the issue, you keep it alive and you become defined by your struggles. Furthermore, constantly talking about your problems can attract more of the same. People who are always focused on their problems tend to attract other people who are in the same mental space, people who are also stuck in their struggles and complaints. This only amplifies the negativity and reinforces the idea that life is one big series of obstacles to overcome. It becomes a cycle of negativity, and the more you talk about it, the more you reinforce it. I think about it this way: when you talk about solutions instead of problems, you start to surround yourself with people who are solution-oriented. You begin to create an environment where the focus is on growth, progress, and finding answers. This shift in focus changes not only your outlook on life, but also your interactions with others. Rather than exchanging stories of frustration and defeat, you begin to share ideas, strategies, and inspiration. You become part of a group that uplifts one another and works toward overcoming challenges together rather than staying stuck in the same spot. There's also a practical side to focusing on solutions instead of problems. Every time you talk about a problem, you're using your time and energy to focus on something that doesn't move you forward. Think about how much time you spend discussing what's going wrong or analyzing why something isn't working. What if you took that same time and energy and applied it toward finding a solution? You would move forward much faster, wouldn't you? This is where the power of mindset comes in. The way you think about problems directly influences how you respond to them. If you constantly see your challenges as insurmountable obstacles, that's exactly how they'll appear. However, if you reframe your thinking and approach them as opportunities to learn, grow, and improve, you'll begin to see them in a completely different light. You'll stop feeling overwhelmed by the situation and instead focus on how to move through it. The more you train yourself to think in terms of solutions, the easier it becomes to shift from a reactive, problem-focused mindset to a proactive, solution-focused mindset. One of the most powerful ways to make this shift is by asking yourself better questions. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me, or why am I always dealing with this problem, ask, what can I do to solve this? Or what are the potential solutions to this issue? By asking solution-oriented questions, you start looking for answers rather than staying stuck in the problem. Your brain is wired to find answers when you ask the right questions, and by focusing on solutions, you'll train yourself to automatically seek out the best course of action when problems arise. This mindset shift also requires a level of personal responsibility. When you focus on solutions, you are acknowledging that you have the power to change your circumstances. This can be empowering, but it can also be intimidating for some people. It's much easier to focus on the things that are wrong and blame external factors than to take responsibility for your own life. But here's the truth: no one else is responsible for your results but you. Your actions, decisions, and mindset are what shape your life. So instead of focusing on what others are doing wrong or how the world is unfair, start looking at what you can do to improve your situation. This doesn't mean you won't face challenges, but it means you will face them head on with the belief that you can find solutions and take control of your outcomes. Another aspect of focusing on solutions is being willing to take action. It's one thing to think about solutions, but it's another to actually implement them. The key to overcoming problems is not just identifying them, but taking steps to resolve them. This requires discipline, commitment, and the willingness to step outside your comfort zone. Sometimes the solution to a problem is not immediately obvious, and it may take time to figure out the best course of action. But if you are committed to finding solutions, you will be more willing to experiment, learn, and adjust along the way. Taking action also means breaking down larger problems into smaller, more manageable tasks. Sometimes problems can seem overwhelming because we try to tackle everything at once. But when you break a problem down into smaller steps, it becomes more manageable and less intimidating. Focusing on solutions means focusing on progress, no matter how small. Every step you take, no matter how incremental, moves you closer to your goal. And this sense of progress is what keeps you motivated and moving forward. The beauty of focusing on solutions is that it frees you from the victim mentality. When you're focused on problems, you feel powerless, helpless, and defeated. But when you focus on solutions, you take back control of your life. You realize that no matter what obstacles come your way, you have the ability to figure things out and move through them. This shift from problem to solution is one of the most powerful ways to take charge of your destiny. In conclusion, focusing on solutions, not problems, is one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your life. When you stop dwelling on what's going wrong and start focusing on what can be done to make things right, you change your entire mindset. You go from being stuck in a cycle of frustration to being empowered to take action and create the life you want. It's not about ignoring problems, but about shifting your energy and focus to what you can control and the solutions you can create. This shift will not only help you overcome challenges more effectively, but will also propel you forward on your path to success. In life, we tend to focus on what's wrong. It's natural, and it's part of being human. When things aren't going the way we expect, or when we encounter difficulties, we notice them more than anything else. Our brains are wired to look for problems, to protect us from threats, to keep us safe. This was important for our survival in the past, and it's still useful today in many situations. But here's the catch: what you focus on, you expand. Think about it for a moment. When you keep focusing on the negative aspects of your life, the difficulties, the things that are missing, what do you end up with? More of the same. Your thoughts, feelings, and actions will align with what you give your attention to. If you constantly dwell on what's wrong, you create a life filled with more of what's wrong. It's like feeding the problem, giving it more strength, and watching it grow. You can even fall into the trap of magnifying the issue until it feels overwhelming and insurmountable. And in doing so, you miss out on all the things that are going right in your life, the opportunities, the solutions, the chances to move forward. What you focus on expands, so if you want to change your life, you must begin by changing where you place your focus. This doesn't mean you ignore reality or pretend that everything is perfect. It means shifting your attention to what's working, to the progress you've made, and to the possibilities that exist. When you focus on growth, on solutions, and on what's within your control, that's where your energy and results will flow. The key is to understand that your energy is limited. Every moment you spend dwelling on what's not working is a moment you're not spending building the life you truly want. Your thoughts and actions are your most valuable resources, and they will create the reality you live in. It's incredibly easy to get distracted by the negative. Our minds are constantly bombarded by external sources of information, news, social media, conversations with others, and so on. Many of these sources focus on what's wrong in the world, highlighting problems, tragedies, and injustices. While it's important to be aware of what's happening in the world, getting lost in a sea of negativity can take a serious toll on your mental and emotional well-being. And when you're constantly absorbing negativity, it's hard to keep a positive, solution-oriented mindset. But when you make the conscious decision to focus on what's going well in your life, on the things you've accomplished, and on the opportunities before you, you'll begin to see more of the same. The more you focus on the positive, the more positive things will show up in your life. It's like tuning into a different frequency. If you're constantly attuned to the problems, it's as if you're listening to a radio station that only plays the same song of struggle and defeat. But when you switch the dial to a station of possibility, growth, and action, the tune of your life changes as well. This shift in focus doesn't mean you ignore challenges. Rather, it means that you approach them with a mindset of growth. You start looking for the lessons in every situation and the opportunities hidden within each difficulty. One of the biggest changes you can make is to pay attention to your self-talk. The way you talk to yourself has a huge impact on how you perceive your life. If you constantly say to yourself, "This is too hard," or "I'll never be able to do this," you're reinforcing a mindset of limitation and lack. But if you start saying, "I can handle this," or "There's a solution to every problem," you're shifting your mental focus to possibility. Your words shape your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your actions. What you tell yourself matters because it guides your behavior and determines your outcomes. It's also important to recognize that your mindset influences the actions you take. When you focus on what's wrong, you tend to feel stuck, frustrated, and helpless. It's easy to become paralyzed by the weight of the problems in front of you. But when you focus on what's possible, on the small victories, and on the progress you've made, you'll feel more energized and motivated to take the next step forward. You'll feel empowered to tackle the next challenge, knowing that you have the ability to create change. This shift in focus also affects your relationships. When you focus on what's wrong with others or with the world, you become more critical, more negative, and more dissatisfied. But when you shift your focus to what's right, you begin to see the good in people. You start to appreciate their strengths, their efforts, and their positive qualities. You become more patient, more understanding, and more open to collaboration. When you focus on solutions in your relationships, you create a healthier dynamic where everyone is working toward mutual growth. Now, you may be wondering, how do I actually shift my focus? How do I start paying attention to the positive, to the solutions, and to what's working in my life? It begins with awareness. The first step is to notice where your focus is going. Catch yourself when you start to dwell on problems, negativity, or frustration. Acknowledge the thought, but don't let it consume you. Instead, redirect your attention. Ask yourself, what's going well in my life right now? What progress have I made, even if it's small? By consciously choosing to focus on the positive, you begin to retrain your brain to look for the good instead of the bad. A helpful exercise is to create a gratitude practice. Every day, take a few minutes to reflect on the things you're grateful for. It could be as simple as appreciating the warmth of the sun or recognizing the love of your family. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant in your life. The more you practice gratitude, the more you start to notice all the good things that surround you. You'll be amazed at how quickly your mindset shifts when you make gratitude a daily habit. Another powerful tool is visualization. By visualizing your goals and the life you want to create, you train your mind to focus on what's possible. You begin to see yourself achieving success, overcoming obstacles, and creating the life you desire. When you hold a clear vision of what you want, your mind becomes more attuned to opportunities and solutions that will help you get there. Affirmations can also play a role in shifting your focus. By repeating positive statements to yourself, you create a new mental blueprint that supports your goals. For example, you could say, "I am capable of overcoming any obstacle," or "I am attracting abundance into my life." These affirmations help reprogram your mind to focus on possibilities rather than limitations. As you work on shifting your focus, remember that it takes time and practice. You won't change your mindset overnight, but with consistent effort, you'll begin to notice a shift in the way you see the world. You'll start to see more opportunities, more solutions, and more of what you want in your life. Ultimately, what you focus on becomes your reality. If you focus on problems, you'll see more problems. If you focus on solutions, you'll see more solutions. The key is to take control of where your attention goes. By consciously choosing to focus on what's possible, what's working, and what's within your control, you create a life that reflects those choices. It's not about ignoring the difficulties you face, but about shifting your focus toward the things that will move you forward. The more you do this, the more you'll expand your capacity to create the life you truly desire. Every one of us has dreams, ambitions, and goals we want to achieve in life. We can all imagine a future that's better, brighter, and more fulfilling than where we are right now. But here's the problem for many of us, our dreams remain just that, dreams. They remain things we talk about, think about, and imagine but never quite bring to life. The gap between what we want and what we have is often filled with excuses, hesitation, and the fear of failure. We talk about our goals, but we don't take the necessary actions to turn them into reality. The truth is, your actions speak far louder than your words. What you do, not what you say, determines whether your dreams come true. We've all been guilty of saying, I want to start my own business, or I'm going to lose weight, or I'm going to get better at managing my time. We have great intentions and a clear vision in our minds, but we stop short of taking meaningful action. Why? Because we're so used to talking about what we want, it becomes easier to just keep talking. Saying it out loud feels good. It's like we've taken some form of action without actually doing anything. But let me ask you, does talking about your dreams bring them any closer to reality? Does talking about your goals really make them happen? No, it doesn't. Your actions are the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. What you do every day, how you spend your time, and what you choose to focus on determines the outcomes in your life. Let's take a look at how many of us operate. We might have a big dream, but then we hesitate. We talk about what we'll do one day or soon, or when we finally get the right opportunity. We wait for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, or the perfect set of circumstances. But guess what? The perfect moment never comes. If you wait for things to be just right, you'll be waiting forever. The only thing that truly matters is what you do today. It's not the grand plans you speak of that change your life. It's the small, consistent actions you take each day that add up and move you forward. And sometimes it's the smallest actions that have the biggest impact. It could be sending an email to a potential client, taking a walk to improve your health, or sitting down for 10 minutes to plan your day. The problem, however, is that talking about your goals can give you a false sense of accomplishment. You might feel like you've done something simply by saying it out loud. But when you don't take action, when you don't follow through on what you've said, you're no closer to achieving your goal than you were before you spoke it. We all know people who talk about their dreams but never seem to take the necessary steps to make them happen. They talk about getting fit, but they never exercise. They talk about writing a book, but they never sit down to write. They talk about starting a business, but they never take the first step toward making it a reality. Talking about your goals isn't enough. Your actions must align with your words, or else your dreams will remain just that, dreams. So why do we fall into this trap of talking about our goals without taking action? One reason is that it feels safer. Talking about your goals feels good because it makes you feel like you're moving forward, even if you're not. It's a form of self-validation. By telling others what you want to do, you're seeking approval, support, and encouragement. But here's the catch, that external validation doesn't move you closer to your goals. In fact, it might be holding you back. Seeking validation from others can distract you from what really matters, doing the work. The more time you spend talking about your goals, the less time you have to actually work toward them. The truth is, no one else can do the work for you. No one else can take the steps necessary to make your dreams a reality. It's up to you to take action, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you don't feel like it, and even when you don't have all the answers. There's another reason why talking about your dreams can be so appealing. It creates a sense of accountability. When you tell someone about your goal, you feel like you've made a commitment. You expect them to hold you accountable. But here's the problem, that accountability is only effective if it's backed up by action. Saying something out loud doesn't mean you've taken any real steps toward achieving it. True accountability comes from within. It's about holding yourself responsible for the actions you take every day. It's about taking ownership of your goals and your progress rather than relying on others to push you forward. Taking action is the key to turning your dreams into reality. But it's not always easy. There will always be challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. You will face obstacles that seem insurmountable, and you will encounter resistance from within and from the world around you. But that's where your actions matter most. When you continue to take action despite the challenges, you prove to yourself that you're committed to your goals, that you're willing to put in the work, and that you trust in the process. Success doesn't come from avoiding challenges. It comes from facing them head on and continuing to move forward, step by step. Taking action also means making decisions even when you don't have all the information. Many people hesitate to act because they want to be certain they're making the right choice. They want all the answers before they take a step. But the truth is, you'll never have all the answers. The key to success is taking imperfect action. It's about making the best decision you can with the information you have at the time and adjusting as you go. You can't wait for the perfect moment. The moment is now, and the actions you take today are what will shape your future. There's also something incredibly powerful about the momentum that comes from taking consistent action. Every time you take a step forward, no matter how small, you build momentum. You create a sense of forward motion, which makes it easier to continue. The more you act, the more you believe in your ability to succeed. And the more you believe in yourself, the more willing you are to take bigger and bolder steps toward your goals. Momentum breeds confidence, and confidence fuels action. It's a cycle that feeds itself. Think about how you feel when you take action. When you make progress, even if it's just a small win, you feel accomplished. You feel motivated to keep going. But when you don't take action, when you stay stuck in a cycle of talking about what you want without doing anything, you feel frustrated, defeated, and unfulfilled. It's a feeling of being stuck, of knowing you're capable of more but not knowing how to get there. The way to break that cycle is through action. Even if it's a small step, it's still progress. And that progress will create more momentum, which will lead to bigger results. It's also important to recognize that your actions don't have to be perfect. Perfectionism often holds people back from taking the first step because they're afraid of making mistakes. But mistakes are part of the process. They are part of learning, growing, and improving. The key is to take action anyway. Mistakes are not failures, they are opportunities for growth. When you act, you learn. And the more you learn, the better you become at achieving your goals. Taking imperfect action is far more effective than waiting for the perfect plan or the perfect moment. In conclusion, what you do is what matters. Your actions speak far louder than your words. Talking about your dreams is not enough. You must take consistent, focused action to turn them into reality. The more you act, the more momentum you build, and the more confident you become in your ability to succeed. It's time to stop talking about what you want and start doing what it takes to make it happen. Your future is shaped by the actions you take today.